That is an insanely serendipitous Hollywood story that is the example of what never happens. Zach and I were looking for a gig. We had just scored a TV show together. We both like do stuff separate and together, which is like a really great creative balance. And we were looking for a gig together, and we had just scored this show that was on YouTube Red before it even was branded as YouTube Premium, called Sing It. We saw in all the trades one day that YouTube was going to make this Cobra Kai show, but there was no information about it. Didn't know Ralph was in it. Didn't know Billy Zabka was in it. Really, truly knew nothing. And we just were like, hey, we just did a YouTube show. Here's another YouTube show. And this like seems like our jam. Like, we like the 80s. Like we didn't know what sound they wanted, but it seemed like something we could crush. So we just blindly put a reel together, called our agent and said, hey, can you try to get this in front of the right person? The thing people need to understand about Hollywood is like, that's an impossible task. The blind get this in front of the right person. There's so many variables and like other salmon swimming in the stream. And it's just total chaos. Somehow, kudos to Bradley, got it in front of the right person. And we got a call saying like, hey, the guys really want to meet with you. They sent us the script. And when we read the script, we realized like how awesome the show actually was going to be. And so we went into this meeting to meet with John, Josh, and Hayden, the showrunners, and we just all clicked. And they offered us the job like 15 minutes later. It was crazy. And the rest is history.
Finish him!
Who is it?
We have also like pretty kind of different backgrounds that led us to the same spot, which I think is cool. I grew up in LA and I played guitar and I kind of started writing music for bands that I was in. And I was always really interested in film scoring from like a really young age, like I think 12 to 13. So when I decided I like wanted to focus on that. And I got to work on like scoring like the high school plays and kind of dipped my toe into like that type of scoring. And then I went to music school at Northwestern and moved back to LA, and pretty luckily just like happened to fill this opening at Chris's studio. And I always like to say that I got Leo a coffee on his first day. On my first day. He asked me to get him a coffee on my first day. And now he gets me the coffee.
Yes, exactly. I was the former band geek musical theater kid who then had a realization around senior year of high school that it was a lot more fun to boss everyone else around and tell them what to play rather than to like practice and perform myself, which was just very stressful. So then I started looking at some other options and decided to go to NYU and study music theory to scratch my music itch. And NYU has a great film school. My roommate freshman year, who is still about my best friend, was a film major in Tisch. So I just started scoring his stuff and realized like, oh, this is the way to do it. And then I moved to Los Angeles, did some grad school at USC and started working for the composer Chris Beck, which is where Zach and I met.
You're gonna be my karate teacher?
No. I'm gonna be your sensei.
When we were doing season 1, we started by really wanting to define the like palettes of kind of our various dojos, the easiest way to describe it.
And as different characters kind of like showed up in the show, you know, sometimes like they just like pick the Bill Conti track they want to use and they just use it. Like most of the time it's a very, I wouldn't even call it an Easter egg. They're just pretty overt about like, hey, we're referencing, like when Daniel puts on the gi for the first time in the first season, we are referencing Karate Kid, letting you all know,
right?
That's what we're referencing.
So like the Johnny sound is so essential to season 1, and it's this like hair metal influenced badass rock and roll. The Daniel sound is very Conti.
We know that Cobra Kai is going to use every dirty trick in the book.
there's only one way we're gonna be able to beat them.
By kicking their asses so hard, you gotta take things to the next level.
We drew from this like 80s synthwave sound in terms of finding the palette for our younger generation. And as we were fleshing those 3 sound worlds out, like we just started coming up with themes in all of them. And so now, 4 seasons in, we've got like dozens of themes for every character in Dojo and like, you know, various facets of the dojo. Like there's the Miyagi spiritual theme and a Miyagi fighting theme and a like Miyagi Okinawa theme. Yeah, there's a million of them. So like we kind of created the palettes as a means to get to the themes. And now we just get to play with the themes all day, using all of our palettes mixed and matched. And when we kind of decide to expand the palette in a certain direction, have all this material to work with. Season by season, our musical experience like gets wider and wider because like as we learn more about the characters too, we are like doing new things to the themes or adding more themes into the library.
Thank you, Mr. Silver.
Come on, say it. Say it! Cobra Kai never dies.
A lot of our Easter eggs come from the different types of like scores that we like to reference. Like our Cobra Kai is our love letter to like 80s soundtracks across the universe. Like there's some like John Carpenter stuff this year. There's some Michael Kamen stuff this year. There's obviously Bill Conti. There's like Joe Hisashi kind of like Studio Ghibli style stuff in season 3. Like those are our little Easter eggs. And then people pick up on like, and we had a little Rocky 3 thing this year in season 4.
What about Rocky 3?
People tweeted at us like, I heard that little Rocky Vince DiCola kind of nod you did in the score. Like those are our Easter eggs.
Oh yeah.